EPA meteorologist Bobby Martich here with your outlook for September 27th, 2022. It is Tuesday, and the Tuesday video forecast is proudly sponsored by J. Evans Property Services, serving York, Lancaster, Chester, Berks, Lebanon, and southern Dauphin counties in Pennsylvania and also northern Maryland. J. Evans Property Services is a family-owned business that offers quality work at competitive prices. They feature premium landscaping and design, sod install, drainage solutions, as well as residential and commercial complete property maintenance. They also have 2 carpenters on board that specialize in decks and fences with over 15 years of experience, and you can still get 15% off any new deck or fence installed through the remainder of this year. You can reach out to them at the phone number above me here in the video or schedule an estimate through their website, landscapingcontractorslancasterpa.com. They are J. Evans Property Services, proud sponsors of the Tuesday video forecast. So this video is going to be concentrated on Hurricane Ian because it's, quite frankly, the only show in town for us potentially this week, aside from the opportunity for a spotty shower in a few spots today and again tomorrow. So we still have this low pressure that was over the eastern Great Lakes yesterday that is going to be moving eastward over southeastern Canada today. And again, there could be in the interior a spotty shower. We can see that here on the NAM high-res future simulated radar as they start this off at 3 o'clock this afternoon and move this forward. Just a spotty shower in a few spots. Not a real big deal there. This goes into from like mid-afternoon through a early evening threat for that spotty shower in just a few spots. So it's going to be a brief light stray shower, and that's it. And then on Wednesday, we have a cold front that's going to move down to the north. You can see that kind of right here. That's off to our north, and it's going to move through the area. Of course, I got the wrong color on here. I don't know how I got yellow. But here's that cold front moving off to the south, and that will give us an opportunity for another stray shower here on Wednesday. And there it is. That's all it is. A stray shower chance here on Wednesday afternoon, and that's it. In a few spots, light, brief stray shower, and that is it for precipitation, because after that, we go to mostly sunny skies on Thursday, and temperatures are going to cool down this week a little bit. We're still 62 to 72 as a spread from northwest to southeast today with that stray shower. Same thing here on Wednesday, 60 to 70, just a degree or two cooler. Not much, but a degree or two cooler than Tuesday. And then most of us are on the either side of the middle 60s, both Thursday and Friday, with mostly sunny skies expected Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy on Friday. Now, I'm going to get into the juicy details of this next system. So here's that system off to our north. Cold front gets dragged in here. Here's that cold front, by the way, which you can now see. Oops, now I got the wrong size pen here. I'll get this right yet. There's the cold front moving off to the south and east, and as it does so, it's going to lose some punch, and just a stray showers left here on Wednesday. This, of course, is Hurricane Ian off to our south, approaching Florida. Now, I will tell you that this is the 12Z run that I'm showing you here. I'm going to take this all the way through the run just so you can see what it does for our area downstream before we get into the details in Florida. The 12Z run today took this very dangerously close to the Tampa area, but did not make landfall on the west coast. And then it kind of meandered a little bit as it slowed down, because that high pressure that's over eastern Texas working against it is going to slow it down a little bit as ridging builds in out in this area. You got a big ridge here. You can put a big high. So the flow around that is in this direction, opposite of the way the hurricane's trying to go. So it's going to slow this down a little bit. And that is going to be a very bad scenario for Florida, and also places like Georgia that are going to get into some heavy rain when this is moving so slowly. It's going to exacerbate the situation a little bit with flooding rainfall, in addition to the high winds, heavy rain, and the storm surge that is going to be impressive along the west coast of Florida. This particular run on the 12Z run today took us up into the Big Bend, like we saw a few runs do here over the past couple of days, so it didn't seem suspicious. Taking us beyond this, though, this did dissipate over the Tennessee Valley. Some remnant rainfall gets up close to our area, but never makes it through. Okay, it gets up to our southern portions, southeastern regions, and that's it, with some rainfall. And it brings it up a little bit faster here. There's mostly Saturday night and Sunday before this pulls away. Maybe some lingering showers here on Monday as well before this entirety of the system moves away. But in this scenario, because high pressure at the same time is building in off to the north, it might shunt most of this, if not all of it, to the south. I wouldn't be surprised if our area gets nothing from this at all. and or maybe just the southern areas, like down southeast of that line, and then northern Pennsylvania, northwest areas of our coverage area. Don't see anything at all. That's very possible from this system. Okay, so that's what the European model did this afternoon. Okay, now here is what the National Hurricane Center has for this evening. This is the 11 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center. It's just about to make landfall. It's just west of the Isle of Youth, which is just south of Cuba, and it's expected to cross over, become a major hurricane. It probably already is. I saw some of the aircraft recon data coming in this evening, and it's looking like it's meeting the minimum threshold for a major hurricane. The 11 o'clock advisory had this at 962 millibars, and they found a pressure drop of another 3 millibars in just 1 hour to 959. So this still strengthening on approach to Cuba. Might be a major hurricane here very shortly in the overnight, and should cross over Cuba. The part of Cuba that is crossing over, is only about 30 miles in length, so it shouldn't. It might pause the continued drop in intensity momentarily until it emerges on the other side, and then it gets into these warm southeastern Gulf of Mexico waters, and still favorable conditions for development at that point. It should get up to about a Category 4 storm is what the projection is before it makes landfall. Now, the National Hurricane Center did, in fact, shift this track a little bit more toward actually right at the Tampa area now as the centermost point of this cone. There is still an uncertainty here, which takes it up to the Big Bend on this side and further east on that side here. So there is a little bit of uncertainty there where the exact landfall point is, because some of the 18Z runs, which I'm about to show you, takes us down even further south than Tampa. Okay, and it does take it right into the western coast of Florida, very similar to what Charlie did in 2004. Okay, and because it's doing that, they're expecting if this was going to take a path that went more towards the Big Bend, it would have time to decrease. You've seen a lot of forecasts that it's going to get up to a Category 4 and then decrease to Category 3, 2, and 1 before landfall. Well, that's if it stayed on this western edge of this cone and had time to weaken over the water. If it's still a major hurricane and it's just west of Tampa and it's going to slam right into the west coast there, it's not going to have time to weaken yet. So you're still going to be a major hurricane possibly here on landfall in that particular area. So that is something they are adjusting to in real time. So let's get over to, I want to show you where that point was on this. We just showed that the National Hurricane Center plot, and you see this M that's right next to the Tampa area on the west side. That is at 8 p.m. Wednesday. At this same time, just want to pull this up because this puts a pin of where the National Hurricane Center thinks that point is going to be at that particular time. Still is a major hurricane. This is the Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area. If you're familiar with that area, that is right here. Here's Tampa Bay right in here. But this area is Clearwater up to the north. This is St. Petersburg. This is Tampa. Most of the guidance this evening is trying to take this right into the Sarasota, Siesta Key area instead, further south. Now, that might not be correct, and it might be further south than that, down towards Fort Myers, and, that's possible. And it could be up here where they have it, right here by the Tampa, Clearwater, St. Petersburg area. But the 18Z runs are taking it in a little bit further south this evening, and that's something we have to watch for trends here in the next 24 to 48 hours. The unfortunate thing with all of this is that the GFS and the European model are almost in lockstep with this. Okay, here's the 18Z run of the European model showing this as a very powerful major hurricane north of Cuba. This is looking at Tuesday evening, and as I move this forward, it takes a aim toward, here's the Tampa area, by the way. I'm just put a little markers here so you can follow along. Here is Tampa right here. Here is Clearwater. Here is St. Petersburg, right? And further south along this coast is Sarasota. Siesta Key is right here. This is, let me get some of my geographies right here. This is Port Charlotte, and this is Fort Myers right here, okay? So those dots are going to stay as I move this, okay? I'm not going to move the dots off the image. And watch what this does. It takes a right hook, and look where it's headed, right toward the Siesta Key and Sarasota area of Florida. This is south of where the National Hurricane Center has a landfall over Clearwater and St. Pete here in the Tampa Bay area. So this is all still on the table, anywhere between those dots, I think. But it's trying to hone in on the runs this evening, and the European model takes this as a major hurricane at landfall into the Siesta Key, Sarasota area, and then takes it across the state and tries to reemerge on the other side, which would be an interesting development. So we don't want it to go any downstream and say, well, the European model is showing that we're not going to get much remnant rainfall out of this. If it's taking a path that's going off the coast and then curves back into like South Carolina or something like that, this could change the ball game downstream. So we will have to continue to monitor this even after landfall. And this is going to be a very slow crawl. This is a full day and a half before it gets across the state here in this scenario. GFS, very similar starting point, major hurricane, and those dots are still in place so you can see that as a point of reference. And look where it does. Takes it right into Sarasota, Siesta Key. Okay, it's south of the Tampa area, but this still would be devastating in this situation for the Tampa St. Pete area either way. Okay, tremendous rainfall, and this just almost stalls and crawls before it moves up through the spine of the Florida Peninsula with heavy rain, and that finally gets out of here Friday night, late Friday night, in fact, before it gets out of here. So that's going to be a long time if this is making landfall Wednesday night, overnight, or early Thursday morning. Okay, that's a long time for it to rain that heavy and have all that storm surge and wind to contend with right along the coast. So I wanted to get past this point, though, just show what the GFS does. Again, downstream, we'll get rid of these dots so they no longer apply, right? Okay, so this is what the hurricane does after landfall. It moves just like the European model through Georgia and then into the Tennessee Valley and weakens significantly. But look what it does with the precipitation. Doesn't really get too much up here. Our southeastern areas get into some showers Sunday night and Monday. It's later than what the European model has also. So Sunday night and Monday it has some showers here in our southeastern areas. But again, interior areas have nothing. So it's possible that parts of our region don't see anything at all in terms of remnant rainfall. This is something we're going to be concerned about down the road. But again, if you're getting a path here like the European model has, and it's trying to do one of these numbers here, it might change the ball game if this has the ability to re-strengthen out here over water and then comes up here through, North Carolina, Virginia after that point. It could be a different game for us with remnant rainfall. We'll see. But there's a lot of uncertainties with that, with how it goes after it makes landfall. We do think it's going to make landfall on the western Florida coast now, not the Big Bend. That's looking more likely, especially since we're lockstep with the GFS and the European model. That's usually a deadly combination. We're only talking about 36 to 48 hours here. It's not a lot of time, folks, so it's not like it's going to be way off at this range. They have models do some crazy things sometimes. And that's basically a difference if it's going to be here or here, kind of like right in there. So that's not a lot of play, all right? Your cone's getting a little tighter here, and the National Hurricane Center will certainly keep that cone pretty tight as well. But it does look like a major hurricane at landfall because it's going to make landfall a lot sooner. Okay, it's not going to sit over the water and have time to weaken with that shear that I talked about in yesterday's video because it won't be affected by it just yet. So it still can maintain strength all the way to landfall until it interacts with land, and of course it decreases with that land interaction. So we'll continue to watch this throughout the week and make sure we have the latest information for you for local impacts in our area, and we'll stay on top of what's happening in the Florida area and hope for the best for those folks down there because it's going to be a very rough time. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, by the way, were moved to Miami for practice this week, but I very highly doubt their home game on Sunday night scheduled against Kansas City is going to be played in Tampa. It's probably going to be moved somewhere else in the country. I would almost guarantee that the way it's looking. So we'll stay on top of this week for not only Florida interest, but also locally, and give you the latest information each day when we have it coming in. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchus. That is your outlook for September 27th, 2022. Have a great Tuesday.